What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about a God of War story that completely slipped by me, but I found it, and I was like, oh, I cannot believe I haven't talked about this, and I would have put this on the main channel if not for a brand new, like a couple hours new rumor of a Final Fantasy, so I was like, that one kind of takes precedent, and now this one can be on this channel. So welcome in, everybody, but we're going to talk about God of War artist suggests that Atreus, and I really want to call him Atreus, even though I know that's not how you say his name, so bear with me if I say it wrong throughout the video. Atreus will be playable in the sequel, so that's the title. Sony Santa Monica concept artist Samuel Matthews, thank God for that easy name, recently suggested that he would probably take over as reins of Atreus, more or less as it did when we took on the role of Ellie in The Last of Us Part 2. In a brief Instagram video, Matthews shared how The Last of Us made a big impact in God of War 2018. He also said that Santa Monica is looking for more inspirations in The Last of Us 2 following God of War. So, that's it. So, look, the writing's on the wall. Literally, there was pictures drawn on the wall to show that Kratos is gonna die. Okay, so it's a metaphor, it's a pun, but in reality, it is as close to true as you can possibly get. So no, I mean, look, we all know it's gonna happen. Now, I personally thought that maybe you would wait till like Game 3 to do something like that. Now, it really seems like they're gonna do it in this next game. Now, I don't really appreciate, or like, appreciate maybe is the wrong word, them just copying and pasting, in a way, The Last of Us Part 2. Some of the major decision-making in The Last of Us Part 2, I would argue, was not very good. I think at the very least you could say that it was polarizing, that not everybody agreed with the decision-making in The Last of Us Part 2. So when you tell me that that's a big inspiration for your game, I don't love to hear that. Now, to kind of contrast that, maybe that would make some people mad. I did actually like a fair amount of The Last of Us Part 2, and I actually think Sony Santa Monica is probably in a better position. I think they did a better job with God of War than The Last of Us Part 2. I hope that God of War 2 or God of War Ragnarok or God of War whatever it's called will be better than The Last of Us Part 2. But I Cory Barlog and all of them, I think they do a really good job. So it's kind of mixed with, like, I don't like hearing that, but like I feel like they got it under control and they know what they're doing. However, I thought that with Neil Druckmann, I thought that with Naughty Dog, and that was, to me, just in my opinion, I did not like some of the major decisions. And no, I did not like the idea of killing Joel. In fact, I love the idea of killing Joel, and I love the idea of it just happening out of thin air, randomly, because of a mistake, or just because the world is like that, you kill him off. That was completely fine. It's how they did it with Abby and yada, 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 yada. But, again, in a more positive way, I would be completely fine with eventually moving on to Atreus. Obviously, well, some people were joking in the comments of Reddit, too, saying, like, he is technically already playable. He's the square button in terms of, like, shooting. So that was pretty funny. But no, like, in playing as him, he needs to take a step, because he definitely went through a pretty awesome character arc in 1. And I would say, though, we're not ready, I think, as an audience, and he's not really ready as a character to be played. You know what I mean? For us to play him. I think he needs to do just a little bit more growing, and I think, really, to be honest with you, they can easily solve that just with a minor time jump, depending on if there is a smaller or big time jump between the ending of God of War and then whatever the next game is. Or, remember, it's very possible as well that this Ragnarok is Coming game, whatever that ends up being, it's possible that's not actually the second game. It's like a 1.5, and then there's a second game coming after it. We don't know for sure, but like that game would help us really elevate him to then give us him almost completely in God of War 2. The final thing, and the most important thing, is, again, the writing's on the wall, literally, that Kratos is going to die, and that you will, obviously, take over as Atreus. And it'll probably be that he ends up killing Kratos, too. So father, or a son kills father, which, speaking of The Last of Us, kind of funny that you would have Abby at the time, and I would argue throughout the whole game, just a seriously unlikable character, kill off your main, and then you play as her. Well, in this game, yes, you like Atreus much, much more than Abby at the time, and maybe you did end up liking Abby. That's completely fine. But at the time Abby killed Joel, there's no way anybody liked her. That's just the facts, right? So for God of War, it would be a little bit different because you'd probably understand what Atreus is doing, and I know people were coming up with theories of like how that would happen. Would Kratos kind of let him do it, right? But at the same time, it is a similar problem because when you kill off an iconic character, and technically Kratos has technically died like 2 or 3 times. So yeah, you could say it doesn't have the impact that it normally would, but like this would be it. This would be the final one. And although this is actually a different voice actor than the previous God of War games, who Kratos is, the journey we went through. And I know people didn't necessarily love him in 1 through 3. I learned to love him, especially in 3. I actually really liked him in 3. That's just my personal opinion. But then I guess there's Ascension 2 and the PSP games. I mean, there's been a lot of God of War games, but we've experienced so much with Kratos. To kill him off, you need to do it right. And I know that sounds that's easy to say. That's very easy for me to sit back in my rolling chair here in my my small little office and say, yeah, just kill him off the right way. Because you could say that with Joel, kill him off the right way. And it literally ignited the internet, like it put the internet on fire. And then you had Neil Druckmann and Troy Baker telling us that they're pretty much better than us. They know the character more, so shut up and let them do what they want. That's pretty much the result, especially from the communication we got of Naughty Dog, of that. Not good. Again, not good. These are just things I'm a little, if you can tell, I'm just a little bit worried about in the background because I do, basic premise here, I agree with killing off Kratos. I agree with giving us Atreus to move the franchise forward. Like, I understand and fully back those two things. But again, just because I back them doesn't mean they can do it any way humanly possible, and I'm going to just immediately side with it or say, oh yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly what I imagine. And while I don't have an imagination that strong, I don't really have a picture in my head of how I would want it to happen, and maybe I will, as the years go on, as we get closer. It's still gonna create conversation that's not gonna be always good, and hopefully they handle it better than Naughty Dog had. So, basic premise, fine. Basic premise, he's just hinting at more of what I think we know that, if they kill Kratos, say, at the end of 2, maybe they could do a thing throughout 2 where, you see, if you think about it, like The Last of Us, you did play as Ellie, and so you got a little bit used to her as a character, and then obviously did Left Behind, and then 2, you just did a full swap. Like, you were playing as her as the main character. I don't think anybody had a problem with that. I think that was totally fine. And then obviously you have to take out the character that you played as for the majority of 1. So for God of War, you didn't do that Atreus jump in 1. So again, this Ragnarok is coming thing. Do you literally do a replica of God of War, or of The Last of Us, or the first Last of Us, where you play a little bit as Atreus, but most of it's Kratos, but maybe you kill Kratos at the very end, and then going into 3 that Atreus is your main character? That could work. And in fact, that's how I would hope they do it. I know some people are joking, do you kill Kratos off in the first hour? Again, these are jokes, but I don't know. I don't think whether you loved Last of Us Part 2 and think it's the game of the generation or not, I don't think copying it's really all that smart. Again, very polarizing. Do you want that for 2 franchises instead of 1? Because I just don't, you could say it's a small amount of people on the internet. I really don't think so. I think there's a lot of people that are quite upset with The Last of Us Part 2. So but I'm not doubting, or I'm not disbelieving that it's a popular game and it's sold well and it's one of the better PlayStation games. But do you want that for God of War? And also, more on a creative end to things, do you want your games copying each other in that way? Where it's let's build this, instead of father-daughter, let's do father-son, and then we're going to do almost the exact same thing. We're going to kill off the main, the adult, and then we're going to give you and yes, that's common. That's oftentimes what happens in a lot of these kind of stories anyway, but leaning too far into The Last of Us, I don't really think is a great idea, to be flat out honest with you. So let me know in the comments below, guys. Maybe you guys really disagree, and that's totally cool. That's, if you disagree with me, I know I haven't said in a while, but disagreements are totally fine. I'm not one to gatekeep or anything like that in the channel. If you don't agree with me, that's completely fine. Let me know in the comments why, and you have just as much of a place on the channel as anybody else. Thank you for watching. Make sure you're subscribed, bell icon turned on, all that good stuff. I do a brand new video every single day on this channel. Face reveal live stream on the main channel in just a few hours from when you guys are seeing this video, or I think 6 p.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. Pacific time on my main channel podcast now. We're going to do a face reveal live stream. Hopefully you guys can stop by, say hi to my actual face for the first time ever. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all on tomorrow's video.